Welcome back to Mindful Intimacy. I'm Grace with Be Whole, Be Happy, helping you discover the most whole and happy relationships, intimacy, and life. Today we'll talk about why you are worth love, why you are worth unconditional love. First, I'd like to say I'm very sorry that you have been programmed to believe that you're not. In the Eastern traditions, we ask a question, a very important question, which is, who am I? And instead of filling the answer with words and definitions and identities and stories and heights and weights and jobs and names, we sit in the mystery of the answer. And in that mystery eventually comes a depth of surrender and a depth of experiencing the unknown. And the sages in every tradition have named this depth of unknown love, which is very different than the way that we use the word love in Hollywood and in Disney and in this country of America, which I live in. We attach these particular conditions to love. And so we're taught quietly, coercively, implicitly, that if we don't fit into these conditions, then we don't deserve to be loved. So if we don't make enough money, we don't have a particular body, height, weight proportion, we don't have this many friends, we don't work in this industry, if we don't meet someone's ideal of perfection or success, then we don't deserve to be loved. And often that someone is our own mind, and our own ego, and our own ideals. I was born with this very, very perfectionist mind, and always had this measure of how good I needed to be, and the grades I needed to get, and all of these things I needed to do to deserve to be loved. And it's very obvious in my pattern of relationships, intimate relationships, and who I chose to be in committed partnerships with, how much I valued and loved myself. Perhaps if you look back at the history of your relationships, you'll be able to see what that value is of yourself too. But regardless of what your history has been up to this moment, you are worth being loved. You are worth being loved unconditionally, without any sort of pretense of who you're supposed to be. Because not only are you worth this love, you are this love. It is the essence of your being. It is the background of consciousness that you are. To practice this, to get good at recognizing in every moment that you deserve to be loved. We start by dropping the stories. So every time you hear the mind say, I don't deserve it because, or I shouldn't, or I can't. This question of who am I can be incredibly pivotal at breaking apart those stories. I can't. Yes, but who am I? Who is this I that says I can't? And in the Eastern traditions, we say, well, this I is not my physical body. It's not just the energy floating around. It's not just my emotions. It's not just my mind. What is beyond that? What is this I that's always remained the same, regardless of every change in condition in my life? When I was 5, when I was 10, when I was 30. And instead of villainizing these stories and telling them that they're wrong or they should leave, struggling with the mind, just love them. Accept them as something that you once believed to be true, and then let them go. And you can ask, who am I, every time they come up. Or simply say, I surrender, or I let you go. We can also begin to offer unconditional love to others. People that we see on the street, people passing us in our car, people in the office, family members, people around the world. Offering unconditional love, simply offering the joy and love of your heart, is a way to also break free of these conditions. Practicing any loving kindness or metta, compassion meditation. Starting to break free not just of this idea that I'm not worth unconditional love, but that other people aren't worth unconditional love. Remember, there is nothing that you ever need to do to deserve to be happy, be in joy, to be your full authentic self, and to deserve love. So practice this by becoming aware of the stories, becoming aware of the mind, creating a little bit of space. So instead of just believing blindly whatever your mind tells you, start to question it. Really? Is that true? Or who am I? This practice of self-inquiry is one of the most incredibly direct ways to start to see through the mind, to start to see through all of these very subtle stories that we've been imprinted with. I'll conclude with a short passage of a prayer of honoring love by Pixie Lighthorse. She says, allow me to be dogmatic about just one thing, my vow to love and the lavish, excessive distribution of it. And remember, this can be upon yourself as well as upon other people. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.